Do you ever find yourself looking at a beetle and thinking that it is nothing more than a dull, little creature moving around? Reconsider your thinking, for the reason that underneath that gleaming exterior is a universe of odd and mind-boggling behaviors that seem like they were taken directly from a science fiction film. Beetles that spew boiling hot chemicals like little flamethrowers, and beetles that cultivate fungus like miniature gardeners are just two examples of the many surprises that may be found among these insects. This video will explore some of the most bizarre things that beetles are capable of doing, and I promise you that you will never look at them the same way again. 1. Bombardier beetles are known as the flamethrowers of nature. The bombardier beetle, a tiny insect, has one of nature's most complex protection systems. This beetle has a unique talent. When threatened, it releases a chemical explosion from its abdomen. This is not your typical pesticide. Predators are often startled before the fluid even settles on the ground, since it is a poisonous liquid that is scorching hot and blasts out with a distinctive cracking sound. The secret is that it has a chemical laboratory built right in. There are two innocuous compounds that are stored independently inside the body of the bombardier beetle. These substances include hydrogen peroxide and hydroquinones. These remain dormant until a threat is really present. At that precise time, the beetle directs them into a specialized reaction chamber that is coated with enzyme material. An instantaneous, violent reaction is sparked by the ingredients, which causes the combination to swiftly heat up to about 100 degrees Celsius, which is the same temperature as water that is boiling. The liquid is then discharged by the beetle in rapid spurts, not just once but several times, almost like a machine gun. It is even more astonishing that it is able to rotate its abdomen like a turret, allowing it to aim the searing spray in any direction, forward, sideways, or backward, making it very difficult for its assailant to escape. The frogs spit them out, the spiders run away, and the lizards develop the ability to avoid them. Scientists have been captivated by this incredible defense for decades, since it demonstrates that even the tiniest insects are capable of wielding weapons of tremendous force, therefore translating chemistry into survival knowledge. 2. Poop rollers. Competing at the Olympic level, dung beetles. Here we have the dung beetle, which is not only one of the most well-known, but also one of the most peculiarly intriguing bugs on the whole world. Dung beetles consider animal feces to be a valuable resource, in contrast to the majority of humans who dislike their preferred material, which is animal feces. Dung is gathered by these beetles, who then roll it away with an incredible amount of tenacity after shaping it into perfect spherical balls. Nevertheless, this behavior is not only peculiar, rather it fulfills significant functions. They also utilize these dung balls as a safe nursery for their young, in addition to using them as a source of food for themselves. The balls are buried underground by the female dung beetles, who then deposit their eggs inside of them. They have a ready-made food source waiting for them when the larvae hatch at the end of their development. The power of dung beetles is one of the things that makes them even more astounding. In comparison to their size, several species are among the most powerful creatures on the planet because they are capable of rolling balls that are up to 50 times their weight. To put these abilities into perspective, try to picture a human being pulling a full-size truck with nothing but their bare hands. That is the type of strength that these beetles exhibit on a regular basis. One of the most peculiar and maybe the most mind-boggling aspects of their behavior is the way in which they navigate. Dung beetles are known to do an occasional orientation dance on top of their dung balls throughout the night. This dance involves spinning in circles to monitor their surroundings. For the purpose of rolling in a perfectly straight path, scientists have found that they make use of the light that comes from the Milky Way galaxy. This makes them the only insects in the world that are known to utilize the stars and the galaxy as a compass, so transforming the process of rolling feces into an admirable display of cosmic brilliance. 3. Beetle farmers. Ambrosia beetles, which are capable of growing fungi. Images of human fields, ant colonies, or termite gardens are often the first things that spring to mind when we think about farming. Beetles, on the other hand, have also learned the technique of agriculture, which is rather astonishing. In this group, the ambrosia beetle stands out as a real pioneer among the other insects. Rather than feeding on the wood that they burrow into, these beetles produce a unique kind of fungus deep inside their burrows. This keeps them from eating the wood itself. Because it functions so similarly to a crop cultivated by beetles, this fungus becomes their only source of nutrition. The way in which the beetles maintain their fungal farms is one of the things that makes this even more intriguing. They do this by storing fungal spores in specialized structures called mycangia, which are found inside their bodies and are very small pockets. The fungus is planted by the beetle whenever it bores into new wood. It does this by releasing spores, which results in the creation of new gardens underground. After the fungus has grown, the beetles will only consume it as their food source. This ensures that both the adults and the larvae will have a consistent supply of nutrients. Due to the fact that it entails planting, caring for, and harvesting a consistent food supply, this agricultural partnership is considered by experts to be so sophisticated that they often compare it to human agriculture. Nevertheless, there is a more sinister turn to this tale. Despite the fact that ambrosia beetles are excellent growers, the fungal crops they produce may occasionally cause trees and forests to get infected with illnesses. Ambrosia beetle farming, which was once an innovative survival strategy, has been connected to large-scale forest damage by invasive species of ambrosia beetles. This has transformed their farming into a devastating ecological force. In a nutshell, ambrosia beetles demonstrate that farming is not only a human invention, rather, it is a survival strategy that was developed by insects millions of years ago. 4. Beetles that have built-in flashlights are known as fireflies. A great number of individuals are unaware of the fact that fireflies are, in fact, a sort of beetle, and their actions are nothing short of magical. The abdomens of these beetles have specialized organs that allow them to emit light via a process known as bioluminescence. However, they are not shining for the sake of amusement. Rather, it is all about communicating. Fireflies that are males flash in a certain way in order to attract females. It seems as if every species has its own light code, which is similar to a hidden Morse code for the world of insects. The flash patterns of certain females are so similar to those of other species that they are able to fool men into thinking they are from another species. It's true that these insects utilize light not only as a love signal, but also as a fatal trap. An even more remarkable aspect is that the light is completely energy efficient, meaning that it does not squander any heat, an aspect that is still difficult for humans to imitate in technological systems. 5. The almost indestructible tanks known as ironclad beetles for short. If you believe that bugs are frail, you should meet the ironclad beetle, which is wicked. Because of its exceptional durability, the exoskeleton of this insect has been likened by scientists to armor that is more robust than steel of the same weight. It is possible to tread on it, and it will not perish as a result. Apparently, it can even survive being run over by a vehicle, according to some stories. According to the findings of the researchers, the shell of the beetle is composed of interlocking elements that disperse pressure and prevent fractures from occurring. This beetle has even been investigated by the United States military in order to develop more durable materials for use in airplanes and protective gear. To summarize, this beetle is so incredibly tough that it is nearly indestructible, much like a smaller version of a real-life superhero. 6. Beetles with very long necks are known as giraffe weevils. The giraffe weevil, which may be found in Madagascar, has the appearance of a figure that was taken directly from a cartoon. Necks of males may be up to 3 times longer than the length of their bodies, making them outrageously lengthy. But why is that? They make use of these necks as weapons in order to compete with other males for the opportunity to mate. The victor is awarded the privilege of courting a female, who then utilizes her shorter but still lengthy neck to wrap leaves into little tubes, which she then uses to deposit her eggs. This is demonstrated by the giraffe weevil, which demonstrates that the intense competition for love can sometimes result in the most peculiar physical adaptations. 7. Insects that use chemical warfare are known as blister beetles. Blister bugs bear cantharidin, which is considered one of the most hazardous substances found in the insect world. The name comes from the fact that even a very small dose can cause severe blistering of the skin. Throughout the course of human history, Cantharidin has been used in a variety of peculiar circumstances, one of which is as an ancient aphrodisiac known as Spanish fly. Blister beetles secrete this substance as a kind of self-defense if they feel threatened. It is possible for horses and other animals to die of poisoning if they consume them by mistake. As a result of this, blister beetles are among the most feared families of beetles in the natural world. These animals serve as a reminder that even the smallest creatures may sometimes be armed with the most lethal weaponry. 8. Living jet skis, also known as whirligig beetles. In the event that you ever come across insects that are whirligig, these are beetles that are whirling furiously in circles on the surface of a pond. This wacky behavior is not a random occurrence. Rather, it is a cunning survival strategy. They have split eyes, meaning they can see both above and below water at the same time. As they spin, they create confusing motion patterns that make it hard for predators to catch them. It's like watching a living swarm of bumper cars on water. Plus, they can dive underwater if threatened, releasing bubbles of air stored beneath their wings. They're chaotic, speedy, and surprisingly high-tech in their adaptations. 9. Gladiators of the insect world, stag beetles. The jaws of stag beetles are enormous and resemble antlers, giving them a terrifying appearance. However, these enormous mandibles are not merely for display. Rather, they are weapons that can be used in dramatic duels. When competing against one another, male stag beetles engage in a wrestling match, during which they attempt to flip their opponents off of logs and branches. On the whole, stag beetles are not dangerous to humans, despite the fact that they have a fierce appearance. As a matter of fact, people in Japan and other countries even keep them as pets due to the fact that their fights are similar to those of gladiators. Their behavior demonstrates how evolution frequently results in the development of extreme characteristics for the sole purpose of mating competitions. 10. Beetles that mimic other insects. Certain species of beetles have perfected the art of concealment. As an illustration, there are specific beetles that are able to imitate ants so accurately that they are able to reside within ant colonies without being discovered. Others have the appearance of bees or wasps, which causes potential predators to believe that they are hazardous. This skill, known as Batesian mimicry, is one of nature's greatest survival mechanisms. Imagine being able to morph into something scarier than you actually are. These bugs really do it for a livelihood. 11. Water scavenger beetles, air bubble divers. Aquatic beetles typically encounter a challenge: how to breathe underwater. The water scavenger beetle addresses this difficulty cleverly by carrying a bubble of air beneath its wings like a diving tank. This bubble not only supplies oxygen, but also assists with buoyancy, helping the beetle dive deep to look for food. It's a natural creation of portable diving gear, long before humans ever dreamed of it. 12. Beetles that play dead. Thanatosis, or most generally translated as playing dead, is yet another peculiar behavior shown by beetles. When they are confronted with a threat, some beetles just roll over onto their backs, tuck their legs in, and stay completely motionless. They do not engage in any kind of combat or run away. A predator may find this lifeless behavior to be very believable, given its lack of vitality. 13. Jewel beetles. Living rainbows. While not the oddest behavior in terms of activity, the jewel beetle's bright look makes it one of the most amazing insects on Earth. These insects are coated in shiny rainbow-like shells that shimmer in sunlight, generating hues so vibrant that they nearly appear fake. Their iridescent exoskeleton reflects light in various hues of green, blue, purple, and gold, making them seem like living diamonds. This stunning beauty hasn't gone ignored by people. For generations, jewel beetles have been utilized as jewelry, ornaments, and ceremonial apparel, notably in Asian civilizations, where their sparkling wing cases were woven into textiles as decorations. But their beauty isn't only for show. The coloration of the jewel beetle also provides an important advantage for the animal's ability to survive. The reflecting, shiny surface helps them blend into sunlight settings, particularly amid glossy leaves and tree bark. This form of camouflage, called structural coloration, tricks predators by reflecting light in unpredictable ways, making the beetle's outline hard to spot. Beyond camouflage, jewel beetles have also gained symbolic relevance in human society. In certain locations, they are considered a symbol of luck, wealth, and beauty, loved as much for their tenacity as for their bright shells. So although jewel beetles may not cultivate fungus or spew boiling chemicals, their bright colors serve both as a shield in nature and as a source of amazement for humans, a reminder that survival may sometimes be beautiful. 14. Beetles in insanely long-term survival. Last but not least, beetles are the most resilient creatures in the animal realm. They are indeed the champions of adaptability. Due to the fact that they have evolved over the course of millions of years, they have developed survival techniques that enable them to flourish in some of the most hostile conditions on the planet. For instance, several animals that live in cold areas are able to survive at temperatures below freezing because their blood contains proteins that are similar to those that prevent freezing. These unique molecules inhibit the formation of ice crystals inside the bodies of the beetles, which enables them to continue living even when they are surrounded by snow and ice. At the opposite end of the spectrum, desert beetles have developed tricks that are just as impressive as their competitors. For instance, the Namib desert beetle is able to thrive in one of the driest regions on Earth by obtaining water straight from the fog. The moisture from the morning mist is absorbed by the tiny bumps on its back, which then direct the droplets directly to its mouth. There is no human engineer who could have created a more effective water collection system than this one, which is built in. Because of their remarkable flexibility, beetles are the most varied group of creatures on the world. There are approximately 400,000 species of beetles that are known to exist, and it is possible that millions more species have yet to be found. It is said that beetles have taken over every nook and cranny of the world, from caves and city streets to mountainous regions and rainforests. It doesn't matter how odd the behavior may be, whether it's cultivating mushrooms, gleaming in the dark, fighting with gigantic teeth, or discharging boiling chemicals. Beetles are a clear example of how innovation is essential to life. They are not only insects, rather, they are living testament of the limitless ingenuity that evolution has. In conclusion, you now have a complete understanding of the most bizarre, peculiar, and amazing behaviors that beetles engage in. These insects are full of surprises, having the ability to do anything from growing fungus and flashing love messages to engaging in explosive chemical warfare and star-guided navigation. What seems to be a normal beetle crawling on the ground is, in fact, a creature carrying the most peculiar experiments that evolution has experimented with over the course of millions of years. Remember that the next time you come across a beetle, you may be looking at a live flamethrower, a cosmic navigator, or even an insect farmer. They are all fascinating creatures. The most fascinating aspect of nature is that even the tiniest of organisms often conceal the most profound of mysteries. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe.